contribution to literature and academia continues to inspire countless minds. A heartfelt welcome to Professor Gitanjali Andotra Rana, who shall present the review paper on the book. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Last but not the least, the spirit of the evening, Tabeya Deep Kaur, Dr. Tabeya Deep Kaur, the author of the book. I request you to kindly join the guests on the stage. Welcome. With petals of gratitude and fragrance of respect, we extend a warm floral welcome to all our honorable guests. Flowers do not speak, yet they say everything that respect, honor, and admiration wish to express. Let us now welcome our dignitaries with bouquets filled with gratitude. I request Shri Hardeep Singh Sudanji to present bouquet to Professor Lalit Magotra ji. He is Tabeya's father. As you all know that tomorrow is Mother's Day, and what can be a better gift to a mother? Gitanjali Andotra Rana. Confluence of thought, emotion, and expression, where words rise beyond pages and become a living legacy. We gather here under the gracious banner of J&K Academy of Art, Culture and Languages to witness the unveiling of a creation that whispers strength and echoes resilience, The Silent Guardian, by the accomplished Dr. Tabeya Deep Kaur. There are stories that are spoken, and then there are stories that are felt. This big book belongs to the latter. I now have the distinct honor and privilege to invite a voice whose words carry warmth, whose vision nurtures art and culture, and whose leadership continues to inspire many. Respected Madam Sonali Arun Gupta, JKS, Additional Secretary, J&K Academy of Art, Culture and Languages, to kindly welcome the guests.
Thank you so much, Mitali. It's such a pleasant feeling to see you after so many years. Worthy Chief Guest, Professor Lalit Magotra ji, esteemed guest of honor, Professor Sucheta Patania, distinguished reviewer of the book, Professor Gitanjali Andotra Rana, the author of the book, The Silent Guardian, Dr. Tabeya Deep Kaur, distinguished guests, members of the literary fraternity, scholars, students, and media persons, a very warm good evening to everyone present here. It's a matter of pride and privilege to welcome you all on behalf of the J&K Academy of Art, Culture and Languages to this pleasant literary evening on the occasion of the release of the book The Silent Guardian, authored by Dr. Tabeya Deep Kaur. The book shall be released in a few moments from now. The program today is a celebration of thought, creativity, sensitivity, and the timeless strength of the written word. As we all know, books are the silent carriers of human emotions, experiences, struggles, and dreams. Books help preserve memories, shape societies, and connect hearts across generations. In a world increasingly occupied by noise and haste, literature continues to remind us of the values of reflection, compassion, and humanity. Through her book, The Silent Guardian, Dr. Tabeya Kaur has added another meaningful voice to the literary landscape, and the Academy feels pleasure to be associated with this important occasion, a milestone of her life. The presence of such distinguished personalities here this evening makes this occasion even more inspiring. We are deeply honored and privileged to have amongst us Professor Lalit Magotra, an iconic literary figure of J&K, a recipient of Padma Shri, whose lifelong contribution to the literature remains a source of inspiration for generations. Personally, also, I have high regards for Professor Lalit Magotra as I have known him since my childhood. So, a very warm welcome to you, sir. Now, I extend a warm welcome to Professor Sucheta Pathania, former head of the Department of English, University of Jammu, whose distinguished academic and literary contributions have enriched the intellectual side of our society. It's my privilege to extend a hearty welcome to Professor Gitanjali Andotra Rana, a distinguished literary figure, professor and HOD of English, Department of Higher Education, Department of Higher Education, Government of J&K. Ma'am, we welcome you. A warm, hearty welcome to all the distinguished guests present here today in the audience. The J&K Academy of Art, Culture and Languages remains committed to nurturing literature, preserving cultural heritage, and providing a vibrant platform to writers, poets, artists, and scholars. Today's program is one such reflection of our commitment and of our collective responsibility to encourage literary creativity and meaningful dialogue in the society. With these words, I once again extend a heartfelt welcome to everyone present here as guests, writers, readers, scholars, young literary enthusiasts, and media persons. So thank you for gracing this occasion with your graceful presence. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Amongst the audience, we have the eminent journalist, Mr. Sunny Dua. Thank you for joining us. And ex-principal Parade College, Professor Vijay Lakshmi. Thank you for joining us. A silent guardian, a presence that protects without proclamation, that stands tall without seeking attention, that loves, shields, and endures quietly, yet powerfully. And now, with immense respect and pride, I have the honor of inviting Professor Gitanjali Andotra Ranaji to kindly present her paper on the silent guardian.
My warm greetings to the august audience. Our worthy chief guest, Padma Shri Professor Lalit Magotra ji. Our guest of honor, Professor Sucheta Pathania, former head of the Department of English and Dean Arts Faculty, Jammu University. Our additional secretary, JK Academy of Art, Culture and Languages, Ms. Sonali Arun Gupta ji, and the promising young author on the dais, Dr. Tabeya Kaur, and all distinguished guests. It gives me immense pleasure to be here in front of you today, this evening, and also I'm full of gratitude to Ms. Sumesh, my batchmate, my dear friend, for having given me this honor to be the first person to review her book, her daughter's book, this evening. I'm highly grateful to you for giving me this honor, Sumesh, and I wish all the best to our young budding writer. So, and it is really praiseworthy to know that she is a doctor by profession and she is a young mother too, and still she took out time to write such a wonderful book where each and every word is so thought about, and the way she has portrayed all the emotions and the way she has made the story run, the plot of the story, and all the characters, how they develop and grow. It is really commendable how this young woman of substance has taken out time to write this marvelous book, and I wish her all the best. I have this book with me, The Silent Guardian. The opening line of the preface to this debut book says, I quote, "There are moments in life that do not arrive with noise. They arrive with silence," unquote. I think this is the crux of this novel of Dr. Tabeya Kaur. This is the resilience that the protagonist displays and realizes after her world crashes around her. And so I would say that the title of this debut book is well thought of, because phoenix from its ashes. Since I'm here to present a book review of The Silent Guardian, written by a young promising writer, Dr. Tabeya Kaur, at the outset, I have to confess that reading this novel has been nothing short of an emotional pleasure, where the dilemma of human emotions and relations has been beautifully worked out. The Silent Guardian traces the life of a young woman in contemporary setting that explores the internal journey of the protagonist, Samira. Written in first person, this literary fiction narrates the moving story of loss, resilience, and growth of a young girl whose most secure world shatters with the loss of a mother, her failed marriage, loss of custody of her only child, growing distances with the people she loved most. The novel is a saga of a journey to self-realization, to pick up the threads of a life to find meaning again. The plot moves effortlessly from present to past to present again, exploring the stages of love, loss, happiness, sadness, exasperation, and all that a modern contemporary life can offer. The novel projects a deeply burdened life of a young woman battling the grief of a mother, demands of motherhood, chaos of emotional upheavals, loss of identity, and shadows of loneliness. Dr. Tabeya Kaur's prose is restrained and observant. She favors short, precise sentences and vivid physical details. Her prose is lush and unhurried, where the reader gets an ample of space to enjoy the vivid sensory details and has an enjoyable reading experience. Dr. Kaur's grip over her choice of words and her vivid expression is apparent in the beginning chapter of the novel, when Samira sees her daughter in the courtroom after losing her custody. I would like to read a few lines from that chapter just to make you feel and see how well it has been portrayed with so much of emotion. So this is the reaction of Samira, the protagonist, when she sees her daughter in the courtroom after she has lost her custody to her husband, daughter's custody to her husband. I read from the book. She wore her favorite pink floral dress. her innocent eyes scanning the room. A flicker of fear in her gaze hit me like a stab. I stood frozen, tears welling up, unable to move, unable to breathe. In that moment, I felt everything and nothing. The ache was so vast, it hollowed me out. I realized at that very moment that I was dying from within and didn't know how to feel alive again. Drowning in these endless thoughts, I was moving towards the huge cliff of madness, getting ready to take the plunge, not knowing whether I had any other option or not. That was the description of a mother's feeling when she sees her daughter after losing her custody. Dr. Kaur's clear, accessible prose with vivid sensory detail highlights the emotions and pain that the character is undergoing. Example of a young girl remembering her mother, whom she lost as a little child, is overpowering. And again, I would like to read few lines from this book. This is on page 45. She is remembering her mother, whom she lost as a little girl. I spent most of my time curled up on my bed by the large window in my room, staring out at the sky, searching, hoping, imagining Ma among the clouds, her smile shining down like sunlight, breaking through the gloom. Sometimes I would trace her face in the shapes above, the gentle curve of her cheeks, her eyes gleaming with love. I would reach out, hands trembling, aching to hold her, to fall into her arms and never return. But then reality would shatter the illusion, and the weight of her absence would pull me down into a chasm of grief. My vision would blur as tears filled my eyes again and again. Still, I wiped them quickly, afraid to miss even a fleeting glimpse of her in those drifting white puffs, just in case God showed mercy and let me see her even once. This is the way she has put into words the pain of the girl is overwhelming. And I think it is an emotional experience for any reader reading this. And I would confess that while reading this book, so many times I was, literally I had tears in my eyes because the experience was too emotional for me too. Her depiction of human pain as reflected in nature outside enhances the reading experience. I would just do a few lines I would like to read. That how her own feelings are reflected outside in the nature. My days resembled winter trees, stripped bare, frozen, and blanketed in snow. Life lay hidden, somewhere beneath the surface, distant and unreachable. There was no green, no warmth, only the white silence of stillness, a haunting kind of stillness. So this is the power of words which can really make you visualize what is happening with this girl who is undergoing a mental trauma and also an emotional chaos in her life. The distinctive prose style of tactile single lines conveying deep emotions and enhancing meaning in each line is depicted very vividly on page 119. That is how so full of strength and so full of meaning are her even small sentences. Over here we have an example of emotions being conveyed, of ideas being conveyed in single line, and then there is a long pause, and then you have one more line, and then a long pause. It gives time to the reader to assimilate and to feel what is being written. I would just like to read few lines and you will see how they carry the whole world in them, these small sentences. And then came the verdict. Then a big pause. Next line. Siddharth had everything in his favor: a stable job, a house, a top lawyer. Then a pause. Next line. I had only love. Pause and a next line. And love, they said, wasn't enough. Then a pause and a next line. He got full custody of Suhani. Pause. Next line. The world collapsed. And then pause and the next line. My marriage ended. My child was taken from me. My purpose ripped away like a limb. Her journey doesn't, So in the last concluding chapters, the metaphor of gardener, who was her resilience, her strength through all the upheavals, was her God, which she realizes by the end of the novel, not actually end, but maybe half portion of the novel is over, when she realizes her inner strength, that he is her silent guardian. And I would just like to read those lines from where this realization dawns on her. I sat motionless, overwhelmed, as a strange and beautiful clarity washed over me. The garden, the journey, the love, the pain, the light. Was it you, God? Were you my silent guardian all along? I was trembling, but my soul was at peace. I bowed my head, hands folded in reverence, a tearful whisper escaping my lips. I am yours, O Lord. Take me with you. I desire nothing more. In his gentle silence, I saw the vastness of my blessings. My life was not a graveyard of wounds, but a garden of grace, family, friends, love, laughter, gifts I had forgotten to cherish, too consumed by the shadows of my pain. I had been ungrateful, blind to the miracles that walked beside me daily. My life had not betrayed me. I had misunderstood it. So this is such an important realization which she realizes after going through the storms of life. She realizes that everything that was happening to her, it was not that life was being unkind. It was that she did not have that inner eye to see that how she was misunderstanding everything. I would not like to disclose the whole story and what happens, because there should be something for the reader to experience for himself. So her journey doesn't end here. After this realization, her journey doesn't end here. In fact, it begins here. I will leave the rest of the story for the prospective readers to unravel the mystery of the life of Samira, who completes her internal journey of finding love, peace, her identity, her happiness again. Her growth as a character is well-rounded and inevitable, as she has that inner strength which she realizes after the onset of storms in her life. To conclude The Silent Guardian, it is a reader's delight in this fast-paced modern life where its linear plot unfolds surprisingly and it emotionally pays off in the last chapters, which is immense and worth reading. I would say this is an unforgettable debut novel that will stay with the reader to remind him of his own silent guardian when needed. It was a beautifully written book which I enjoyed thoroughly, and I wish Dr. Tabeya Kaur all the best for this book. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, listening to you after so many years was indeed a pleasure. Being your student has always been a matter of great fortune and pride for me personally. And standing here in your presence today is truly a special moment for me. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. The imagery before us, a solitary tree, deeply rooted, a humble home, resting in stillness, and mountains rising in timeless dignity, is not just art, it is philosophy. It is a reminder that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it simply stands. And just like this stands the author with grace in her smile and strength in her story, holding not just a book, but a piece of her soul, ready to be shared with the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as this elegant evening of literature and reflection continues to unfold, I request the dignitaries on the stage to please release the book. I request the parents to please join her and her husband to kindly join her on the stage. Congratulations, Dr. Tabeya. Thank you all very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment arrives to hear the mind behind the narrative, the imagination behind the characters, and the soul behind the silent guardian. A novelist does not merely write a story, she creates a world where
Thank you, Mitali ma'am. Wonderful intro. Uh, I'm so humbled. I prepared something in my mind. I want to speak, but now I'm so humbled with listening so beautiful words from Gitanjali ma'am and from Sonali ma'am. Thank you so much for honoring me more than I deserve. But before everything else, to all my respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, and my dear friends and family, a very, very warm greetings to all of you. Today is not just an official, function or a launch for me. It's more of a very personal and a deeply emotional moment. They say that, some dreams are not just merely achieved, they are divinely granted, and this one was for me. As my book, The Silent Guardian, takes its, flight in the sky today, I stand here with a heart full of emotions, full of gratefulness that I don't have enough words to thank you all for gracing my occasion. This book is not just a story, as Mitali ma'am said, really it's a piece of my soul that has been nurtured over the time. I made it grow, and now when I see in its final form, it makes me so humble. Everyone kept on asking me what was the idea of the book. So the idea of this book did not come to me in isolation. It came to me through the lives I witnessed. The lives of every person who fell and then rose again. The stories of courage, the indefinite internal strength they showcased. And, there were times I saw men, women, breaking, emotionally breaking, physically breaking in front of me, and yet the very next day showing up with the same fervor and the same courage. I saw the pain that was never spoken. I saw the courage that was never acknowledged. And in those moments, in fact, in that very moment, I realized that these stories need to be told. These emotions, these little feelings need to be told, need to be addressed to the world. Very honestly and oftenly, we all celebrate becomings, beginnings, right? Kuch bhi acha hota hai, we celebrate. But do we talk about the endings? We rarely do. But yet in the endings, it is when life beautifully begins again. So this story is the story of becoming. Not very loud, dramatic becoming, but very slow, internal, invisible transformation. Because I believe deeply somewhere that resilience, as ma'am said, does not always roars. It sometimes just breathes. It just breathes. It sometimes looks like you look at somebody who just doesn't want to get up but still gets up. When no one is seeing you and you're holding yourself, that is the moment when you realize what you've attained. Coming from a medical background, my life has always been very rooted to science. Very much, precision, structure, logic, a lot of things were there in my mind, but there was always an internal world, a parallel world, a world of stories, world of human emotions and compassion that always lived inside of me. So I tried to write them on those pages. Through my profession, through my life, I did not just see patients. That was my core area. I saw people. I saw their fears. I saw their struggles. I saw their courage. And most importantly, I saw them bound to their identities, to the roles they were defined into. In today's world, we are only defined by our roles. Have we ever thought about it? What are we? Maybe my profession, as I said, doctor, okay, that defines me. My title, my relationship. What if I'm stripped of these roles? What if? I am sure I can't tell you that this book is going to give you the answers, but yes, definitely yes, it is going to gently invite you to ask the question. Because somewhere we are lost in the world of identity. We want to be seen, but everything is within. As I stand here, I know this moment is not mine alone. I'm deeply aware of that. This moment belongs to my beautiful family, my dear friends, who have always supported me unendingly, who have had belief and trust in me, because of whom I stand here today, because of the moments that made me stronger, the challenges that tested me, and the experience that have shaped me what I am today. And above all, above everything, my God, who held me. Always, irrespective of in which state I was. There were times my emotions were so raw, I could not put them into words. I did not know what to write, but then came he, and he just made me write them. Now even I get emotional when I read the book. Have I written it? Sometimes I get confused. Because it's not mine alone. Honestly, you always need that special strength to reach where you are today. Before I conclude, I just want to say to the young minds here that life will not always be as planned. There will be moments of self-doubt. There will be moments of confusion. And in fact, there will be moments when you're completely lost. But that is not the end of a story. That is a beginning of a new one. So do not be afraid to try again, to get up. Do not be afraid of the change. And most importantly, do not lose yourself in trying to be someone or something that the world expects you to be. Because it is not what we have achieved in life. It is what we become. So I hope that Silent Guardian touches your heart and makes you ask the relevant questions and makes you find the inner strength that is always present inside of you. So just already Gitanjali ma'am has done a great job at telling my book, but just to give a glimpse of the book, as she said, the last chapter, it's very, very close to my heart because when you reach the summit, you always know what it feels like. So I would like to read those little lines for you. So it is basically that what she had thought in her life, I'll not open the plot, she has achieved, and she's addressing a crowd. She's talking to the person, the protagonist, as Samira ma'am said. So I would like to read those words for you. They say, don't dream too high, you might fall. But I say, dream as high as your heart dares, for in the falling you may learn to fly. Dreams don't break us, they build us. I am a living proof of that. There was a time when I felt like no one, but today as I stand here, I carry the strength of every wound that healed me, every tear that dried, and every silent prayer that was answered. I extend my arms to these children, not as someone superior, but someone like them, ready to walk this journey with them. Dear friends, life will not always be easy. It will test you, stretch you, shake you, but love, true love, will never let you fall too far. The best thing about life is that it allows you to choose. Even when it doesn't seem like it, you have the power. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment you have and make it perfect. Don't chase happiness, plant it within you, let it grow. Because the secret to this life is you. You alone hold the pen, you alone choose whether to bend or to bloom. Standing here today, I feel so overwhelmed. I don't know if I can truly express all that's inside me, but I hope with all my heart that every one of you gets the chance to feel what I'm feeling right now, a moment of bliss, of purpose, of quiet joy. If life had been kind to me from the beginning, I wouldn't have known the strength I carry today. So I thank it, not just for the happiness, but for the hurt. For it sculpted me into someone I never thought I could be. The other day I sat alone and a few lines whispered themselves into my heart. They felt like the summary of my journey, the song of my soul. I'd like to share these words with you before I close, and I promise I'll try not to keep you much longer. But first, let me recite them for you. Clouds were black and the storm weary. There she was with all her strength. The winds were strong and her body was weak, but the spirit inside knew that she will stand every whiff. After the storm passed, she dropped dead. Not to fall, but to rise again stronger than ever, as she knew this part of her is what eternity wants her to be. Owing it all to eternity, there she was with all her strength. Clouds were black and the storm weary. So this is a part of the end of my story. And after such a beautiful time, I really, really want to thank my special people here, First, I would like to thank the Jammu and Kashmir Academy of Art, Culture, and Literature, Languages for. But still, I want to thank them once more for giving me this opportunity, and really, really grateful. And thank you, everyone, for being a part of my occasion. It really means a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Tabeya. And if I have to just conclude your, novel in 2 lines, it would be "तू शाहीन है परवास है काम तेरा, तेरे आगे जहाँ और भी है, कई बार इक़्तिदार ही इब्तिदा होती है." After listening to the heartful and inspiring words of author Dr. Tabeya Deep Kaur, the evening now moves towards reflections from eminent literary minds and present amongst us. It is now my proud privilege to invite our esteemed guest of honor, Professor Sucheta Patania, a distinguished academician, scholar, and former head of the Department and Dean of Arts Faculty, Jammu University, to kindly share her valuable thoughts and reflections on this remarkable work.
Padam Shri Professor Lalit Mangotra ji, Chief Guest of today's function. Additional Secretary, J&K Academy of Art, Culture and Languages, Ms. Sonali Arun Gupta, Professor Gitanjali Rana, Dr. Tabeya Deep Kaur, the author of the book, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. It is both an honor and privilege to stand before you today on this remarkable occasion, the release of The Silent Guardian, a novel authored by the immensely talented Dr. Tabeya Deep Kaur. I'm grateful to Professor Lalit Mangotra for giving me this opportunity to be part of this program, not only part of this program, but he gave me this book and I loved reading it in one day. It was so interesting that I kept on reading it till 12 o'clock. Few pages, I think 7, 8 pages were left, which I read in the morning. It was very interesting book, I found, because it is a very positive kind of end, which I like the most. I think that I love positive things in life. That's why. At the outset, I extend my heartiest congratulations to Dr. Tabeya Deep Kaur, the author of the novel, The Silent Guardian. In today's digitally oriented world, the rise of social media and short-form content has reshaped the way people engage with stories. Readers increasingly prefer books that offer immediate practical benefits over literary works. As a result, fiction is often viewed as less productive in a fast-paced, goal-driven society. But Dr. Tabeya Kaur's efforts are really commendable. Also, I have observed a quiet tragedy. We belong to a generation that consumes at an atmospheric rate. We scroll and absorb, but there is part stillness where expressions should be. I see young minds filled with the words of others, yet struggling to find the ink for their own hearts. The art of writing, the brave act of externalizing the internal, is becoming a rare vintage. To excel in the demanding field of medicine is in itself a profound achievement. Yet, to simultaneously nurture the creative spirit and produce a work of literature speaks a rare depth of sensitivity, discipline, and imagination. It reminds us that science and art are not opposites, but complementary ways of understanding the human emotions and human condition. That's why it gives me such immense joy to see a woman from my own hometown, a doctor by profession, now turning her hands to heal the narrative. I feel that as a medical doctor, she must have encountered countless human stories of suffering, hope, endurance, and healing. It is this intimate engagement with life in its most vulnerable moments that often gives a writer a unique voice. We must remember to consume without producing is to be a lake with no outlet. Eventually, the water loses its life, becoming a mirror that reflects everything but sustains nothing. By writing this book, Dr. Tabeya has turned that lake into a river. In Samira, we see the structural trauma of a childhood frozen by loss. She rushed into marriage to find a sanctuary, only to realize that a spouse cannot keep pouring love into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Samira's journey was the meditative labor of mending her own vessel. She had to learn that the darkness she fought was not an enemy, but a shadow, and a shadow is merely proof that a light is nearby. We often look for a silent guardian in the heavens or the past, but Dr. Tabeya reveals that the guardian was never external. The light was always there, embalmed within Samira, preserved in the quiet teachings of her mother's memory. Samira was always the gardener of her own life, but she only learned the art of pruning when she finally decided to see things as they truly are. Her mother was not a ghost. She was the seed of resilience already planted deep in Samira's soil. According to William Wordsworth, nature and art function as powerful means of sublimation and psychological redemption, especially in response to emotional disturbance, loss, or trauma. The most profound triumph of this narrative is its circularity. In the final act, we witness the birth of Samira's sanctuary, a space she calls her angan. I'm also not revealing the plot, but how the journey takes to the final positivity. But little bit I will tell you, not disclosing everything. She creates a sanctuary, which she calls her angan. Here the story transcends the individual and becomes the universal. In this angan, Samira tends to those buds that have been prematurely cut from their roots. In an act of brilliant literary symmetry, the child who lost her mother becomes the mother of all lost children. Tabeya has integrated the nurturing and the feminine so beautifully that Samira no longer mourns the mother she lost. She becomes the presence she missed. She provides the ground that she herself once lacked. She had transformed her own absence into a presence for the next generation. We must also honor Meera, another character who is her friend, the benevolent witness. Every gardener needs a season of rain, and Meera was that constant, non-judgmental presence that allowed Samira to bloom. Their friendship reminds us that while the work of the soul is internal, the garden is more beautiful when the gates are open. As a close, let's reflect on the profound act of Dr. Tabeya's writing. Writing is the ultimate act of gardening. It is taking the raw, wild chaos of human emotion and pruning it into the shape that offers shade to others. To the readers of The Silent Guardian, don't just be a mirror reflecting the world, be a river, be a gardener. Remember that the legacy of a mother is not just a memory to be mourned, but a light to be carried. Dr. Tabeya, thank you for showing us that when we find the courage to put our internal colors onto the paper, we don't just heal ourselves, we build an angan where the world can find its own home. I wish her continued success both in her medical career and her literary journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And now, on a personal note, it is truly a moment of immense pride and honor for me to invite Professor Lalit Magotra, renowned writer, scholar, and Padma Shri awardee, as I have the privilege of being his student. Standing here today, sir, and welcoming you is really a very special and proud moment for me. Sir, may I very humbly request you to kindly share your views.
Thank you, Midali. Additional Secretary of the J&K Academy of Art, Culture and Languages, Mrs. Sonali Arun Gupta. When I take your name, I think I'll not proceed on this line. What I had thought in my mind, I will not. You are the chief guest of this function, but you conferred the chief guestship on me and made me the chief guest. I think it is written there, presided over by Lalit Mangotra. Anyway, I consider you as the chief guest of the occasion. Professor Sucheta Pathania, who is the guest of honor in today's function. She is a very well-known, renowned academician. She has been head of the English department in Jammu University. Also, she had been Dean Faculty of Arts in Jammu University and a very dear colleague in my university. Professor Gitanjali Andotra Rana, she's also had been principal of Women College, Gandhinagar, and also Dean Faculty of Sciences as Dean Faculty of Arts in Cluster University, Jammu. Both of them are very well-known academicians. They have spent their whole life in English literature, I would say. And it's a privilege to listen to both of you. The book is really very good, but the way you have unfolded the various aspects of that book is really touching. And I also had wet eyes when you were reading that part, along with the mother of Tabeya. Then Tabeya, Dr. Tabeya, who is sitting here with us, I would say that after having read her book, after having listened to her when she spoke here, I would say she is not only a person, she is a phenomenon. Wait and see. Wait and see. Future will tell you, as she is not ordinary person. She is a phenomenon, and one day we will all be very proud of you, Tabeya. God bless you. And I see many familiar faces in the audience. I can't name all of them because if I miss somebody, it would not look proper, and it's also not possible to name everybody. So you are the most esteemed person. Why, I say, for particular reason. I have not seen these faces frequently in this hall. I see most of them for the first time in this hall. This hall is mostly gathering of writers, of poets, of short story writers, and I don't see these faces. But one thing I can tell you is that the rapt attention with which you have listened to the program so far, and the synergy that I have seen between the people who are speaking there and you sitting there. I congratulate all of you. I see very sensitive minds sitting here in this hall. So first of all, I would like to congratulate our dear Tabeya, Dr. Tabeya Deep Kour, for having come up with such a wonderful and beautiful book, about which two eminent scholars have already spoken in detail. And they say, हिंदी में they say, आलोचक के लिए सहृदय होना बड़ा ज़रूरी है. See, सहृदय का ये मतलब नहीं है कि लिहाज करना है. सहृदय का मतलब ये है कि जिसका हृदय अच्छा हो. जो कोई लिख के लाया है, if somebody has come with some creation, you should not look for faults in it. You should not look for shortcomings in it. You should look for the beauty that he or she has created. And there is one sentence I'll read while going through my papers here. I'm not going through it, I'm just looking at it. She has written it, but I will read it here when the occasion comes. You will be reminded of what I am saying you right now. My friends who are from literature, who are sitting in this hall, they know that whenever a new book is published, I say something. I always say something. And that something is, when a new book is published, is printed, humanity takes one step ahead. I say in Dogri, ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਵੀਂ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਛਪਦੀ ਹੈ, ਮਨੁੱਖਤਾ ਇੱਕ ਕਦਮ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੱਧਦੀ ਹੈ. Especially a book which celebrates faith, love, compassion, which are the basic qualities of a human being. Human. Otherwise, there is not much difference between animals and humans. These are the attributes which make us different from animals. Love, compassion, faith. And this book celebrates these attributes. So what more you can expect from a book which takes humanity one kadam, ek kadam aage le jati hai. So I find that this, whatever I had been saying, befits this publication of this kind of book. So I'll not go through this story, because some part of it has been told to you, you know it. Some part has been hidden from you, for the reason you can understand that curiosity has to remain alive. You should not say everything about a book. You should keep something so that your curiosity remains alive, so that you want to read this book. But if I have to describe this book in one sentence, I would say this book is a story of transformation. This book is a story of transformation. Transformation from broken heart, from broken ideas, from hopelessness, from loneliness, transformation to a life of fulfillment, a life of achievement, a life of positivity. That is the transformation that takes place, and that is the beauty of this book. And the factors which are responsible for this transformation are love, faith, and compassion. So that is, in a nutshell, the essence of this book. I have gone through this book with a lot of interest. Not for the reason that I had to speak on this book, that I had to sit here and say a few words about this. Not for that reason that I found it, that I read it with interest. I have read it with interest because the book is interesting. Book is very, very interesting, which has been said by everybody. You start, and if you are a avid, if you read, if you have the habit of reading, you will not be able to put it down. There are certain characteristics of this book which I will also say something about that. But it is because of that. And then I will digress a little bit here. And digression is that I believe that those people who love literature, who read literature, especially fiction, live many lives in one life. They live many lives in one life. I'll elaborate on this a little bit. Every book, say book of fiction or any other book, has a world of its own. It has its own world. For if it is a novel, it has its characters, it has its incidents, it has happenings, it has environment. It is a complete world in itself. And the person who reads it enters into that world. And by the time he comes out of that world after reading the book, he is not the same person who had entered the book. Depends on what kind of book is it. If it is a good book, it will add something to you. Your thinking may be transformed. Something will be added into your attitude, approach, the way you look at life. The book could have so you have the experience of passing through one complete world. And if you read hundreds of books, you have lived hundreds of lives. Every time you go through a new book, you are living with those characters, you are experiencing the experiences of those people, you are a witness to whatever is happening to them. Even you know what they are thinking. You can peep into their mind also. You are like a God. But God, without having the power of interference. You can't interfere in the lives of those people, but you can observe, you can watch, you can see everything. So that is what reading of books does to a person. And this book has also done something to me. I'll tell you what it has done. That is why the great books have changed the course of history. They have changed the course of history because the people who have read those books, the ideas of those books, whatever is written there, whatever is shown there in those books, influences the people. Of Tolstoy, you think of Ernest Hemingway, you think of old writers, how they have transformed the world so far. So books have great power. Now this book by our dear Tabeya is also very powerful book. Is also very powerful book. She smiles childlike, but you see here when she was speaking, She was smiling all through. She was smiling like a child, but she was speaking like a philosopher. And that is so much apparent from the book when you read it. I'll come to that a little bit after some time. So, I will tell you later on what this book has done to me. But I will first of all tell you what is my observation about this book. One first observation is that there is childlike innocence. There is childlike innocence, presence. Both the great scholars will agree with me who have read this book. It is there. And then there is deep philosophical thought in it. How strange is it that on one hand you have childlike innocence and also in the same book you have deep philosophical ideas. And the third thing, Tabeya, is the poetic expression. The book is full of poetic expressions. These three things, I love all the three things personally. So that was one reason that I loved this book. In innocence lives God. If God lives anywhere, if God exists, it exists in innocence. It cannot exist anywhere else. Philosophy ultimately lands you on the bare facts of life, basics of life. Philosophical thinking ultimately leads you to fundamentals of life. And poetry makes your life aesthetic. Your life is, it makes it beautiful, aesthetic. Elegance comes through poetry. So these aspects, and above all of these, her hallmark is intensity. You are a very intense writer. I can tell you that. She writes with intensity. When she writes about love, she writes with so much of intensity. When she writes about relationship, she again writes with intensity. The separations, the relationship, the love, everything, there is an intense feeling. That is what we feel. That is why when she was quoting, it was touching your heart, because there was that intensity. These are the things I have found in her book, which have impressed me very much. And then above all, she has written in a very simple but impactful language. As Gitanjali ji was saying, she writes in a very simple language. In that context, I am reminded of a small poem I wrote some time back, but since I don't want to recite the poem, but I will share with you the idea that a poet reads his poem and there is a fakir listening to that poem, and the poet, the fakir says, यार आपके शब्द बड़े कठिन थे, बड़े मुश्किल शब्द थे. And the poet says, इसलिए क्योंकि जो आइडिया था वो बड़ा कठिन था. उसने कहा अगर ऐसा था तो शब्दों को इतना सादा करो इतना सादा करो कि कठिन शब्द, कठिन आइडिया उसके सामने ठहर ना सके. Unless you are able to express intricate thoughts into simple words, you can't write. You can't write. It's very easy to write simpler things in complex words, but it's very difficult to write about complex ideas into simple words. And she does that. And she does that. Her words have that power. So, that's what I found in this book. Then I was very much impressed by her poetic expressions, and I was thinking, if she tries her hand on poetry, maybe she will turn out to be a better poet than a fiction writer. Thank you, thank you. मैंने भी कुछ सेंटेंसेस लिखे हैं इसके, जो मुझे पोइटिक से लगे, वो मैं आपको पढ़ के सुनाऊंगा. कोर्ट रूम की बात हुई है. ऑलरेडी शी इज टॉक्ड ऑफ द कोर्ट रूम. कोर्ट रूम इज नॉट ए गुड प्लेस. कोर्ट रूम इज नॉट ए प्लेस टू विजिट, एक्सेप्ट फॉर वकील जिनके पैसे बनते हैं and the judge जिनकी prestige बनती है. Otherwise, court is not a place for gentlemen. It's not the place. तो कोर्ट रूम में उनकी सेपरेशन हो रही है हस्बैंड वाइफ की. And the protagonist of the story, she says, the courtroom was a mosaic of broken families. Listen to it. Listen to the language. One could have written in different ways, but how she writes. The courtroom was a mosaic of broken families, echoing grief and collapsed hopes. Think of it. Think of the simple words, each word carrying such depth in it. The mosaic of broken families, echoing grief and collapsed hopes. Then, in one place, she is explaining a depressing scenario, a depressing environment. And she not only involves the persons who are depressed, she involves the curtains of the room. Listen. Curtains hung in a dull, lifeless hue. Even the curtains are participating in the depression of the situation. Then, this one I like. I needed to wash the day off my skin. मैं इस दिन को अपने शरीर से धो देना चाहती थी. Think of it. The day must have been very depressing, very devastating, and she wanted as if the day has not happened. And she says that I wanted to wash off the day of my skin. And then he kept my feet warm. Now he talks of closeness. He kept my feet warm, my hands safe, and dreams close. I mean, I love the simplicity of the language, but the meaning they convey is very, very profound. I am impressed by it. Water bends, flows, adapts. Water bends, flows, adapts, and yet it never loses itself. And yet it never loses itself. It can take any shape, but still remains water. And she has used the metaphor of water later on in this novel, from here onwards. And the next is the best. The next is the best. I have adopted in my life already, and I found it here. Always write your sorrows on sand. Always write your sorrows on sand and carve your joys in stone. Carry the joy of life with you. Why carry the burden of sorrow with you? Why carry the depressing things of your life with you? अगर आपने कोई एक गुत्थी में कुछ रखना ही है तो सोने के सिक्के रखो, उसमें खोटे सिक्के रखने की क्या ज़रूरत है? So, that one, dear, I think I told my friends, no, I have a poem written, उसका टाइटल है आदत, लेकिन वो मैं आपको वो भी नहीं सुनाऊंगा। नहीं, वो बड़ी लंबी चौड़ी है। अच्छा, मैं आपको ऐसे सुना देता हूँ। एक आदत मैंने पाल ली थी बचपन में ही, ज़िंदगी के शुरू में ही, कि मैं जो दुख देने वाली चीज़ें हैं उनको भुलाता रहूँगा, और जो मुझे सुख पहुँचाती हैं, जो अच्छी लगती हैं, उनको मैं इकट्ठा करता रहूँगा। ये आदत मेरे बड़े काम आई। मैं सारी उम्र खुश रहा, ठीक रहा, अच्छी कटी। लेकिन अब इस उम्र में आके मेरी ये आदत जो है, ये अपने पाँव फैला रही है। ये अच्छी चीज़ों के साथ, बुरी चीज़ों के साथ साथ अच्छी को भी भुलाने लगी है। तो इसलिए मेरे दोस्तों, अगर मैं भाषण देते देते आपका नाम भूल जाऊं तो बुरा ना मनाना। मैं जानता हूं आप कौन हो, आप मुझे बड़े प्यारे हो, लेकिन ये आदत मेरी बड़ी गलत हो गई है, इसकी वजह से मैं आपका नाम भूल रहा हूँ। दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग। सो आई फाउंड इट हियर, आई लव्ड इट, एंड देन आई कुड नॉट ब्रीद। ये देखिए, this touched me very much. I could not breathe, could not think, could not be. मैं सांस नहीं ले सकी, मैं सोच नहीं सकी, मैं होना ही भूल गई। ये है इसका मतलब, जैसे मैं थी ही नहीं। I mean, you look at the language, इसमें कोई बड़ी फिलासफी के लैंग्वेज के वर्ड्स नहीं हैं, कोई बड़े बड़े लफ्ज़ नहीं हैं। किसी और ने लिखना होता तो ही माइट हैव यूज्ड वेरी बम्बास्टिक वर्ड्स लाइक ट्रम्प यूजेस एंड दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग, बट शी इज़ रिटन वेरी सिंपल। आई कुड नॉट ब्रीद, कुड नॉट थिंक, कुड नॉट बी। सो this is what I observed about this book, and then what I learned from this book. I told you that every book affects you. लंबा तो नहीं हो गया भाषण? Then there is one lesson. Then I wouldn't call it lesson. Something made me to think very intensely on one aspect of life while going through this novel. There are many separations in this novel. You will see separation of daughter from father, separation of husband, and there are other separations also. But in each separation, the root cause is misunderstanding. But misunderstanding can be taken care of. You can say, I'm sorry, and the other person may feel it's okay. Or you can say, यार मैंने तुम्हें माफ़ किया, छोड़ दे, and understanding can go. But when understanding gets mixed with ego, then you don't say sorry. Then you don't say sorry. Then you want to say sorry. You love other person very much. You want to say sorry, but your ego comes in the way. You don't say sorry. You want to say, यार मैंने माफ किया तुम्हें, छोड़. But you don't say because the ego comes in between. So I found that from here I found that the main reason of misunderstandings, separations, parting with each other is misunderstanding mixed with ego. When they combine, they're fatal. Their combination is fatal. This is one thing. Then you also say, she says many times, that she was having a feeling of presence, some kind of presence. जैसे हम लोग कहते हैं, बेटे मैं मर भी जाऊंगा, लेकिन मैं जाऊंगा नहीं, मैं तुम्हारे पास ही रहूंगा. You say it. And many people say, I feel the presence of my father or presence of my mother. I don't believe it in this spooky way, because I am student of literature, तो थोड़ा इधर उधर आके किया. Basically I am student of science. I don't believe, but I believe in one thing, and that is that when you have lived with some person and you have seen him or her, how she acts, how he acts, how she handles life, how she takes care of situations and things, how calm, cool, and poised he or she remains, even if she is gone or he is gone. And at a later stage, when you say, I feel his presence, you don't feel his presence or her presence. You feel the presence of her deeds. Her deeds are there. She is gone. He is gone. But the deeds are with you, because you have experienced those, because you are a witness to that, because you have lived with that. So what remains? What you say, I feel unki presence. It is the presence of the deeds. This is what I feel. And this inspires. I have personal experience many times in life. When you are in difficult situations, you imagine any of your ideal. आप सोचते हैं अगर वो होता, अगर वो होती, वो क्या करते? So that is how you have their presence. That is one thing. And there is another thing you mentioned somewhere, which was also inspiring to me. A painter does not paint the scene. याद आया कुछ? A painter does not paint the scene. A painter has a feeling when he looks at this scene, and he paints his feelings. The feelings that the artist has after looking at a scene, he paints those feelings, not the scene. I extended it. A writer does not write what is happening. A writer writes the feelings that he had when that was happening. That is another thing that I have taken from you. And it has also reaffirmed my faith in positivity and thinking, this book. I'm not a great believer in God. If you ask me, do you believe in God or not? Honestly, I would say, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say whether I believe. My wife says that I am not believer. But I say that I don't know. I don't know. Since I don't know, I don't want to tell a lie that I can't say I don't believe. I can't say I believe, because I don't know. But I know one thing, that God, existence of God is a matter of argument. You can argue about it for hours and hours. As a matter of fact, this argument is going on for centuries. From the time immemorial to date, people had been arguing about it. But one thing is there, whether God is there or not there, I have seen one thing, that faith in God, those who have faith in God, that faith can do miracles. I have experienced. I have the faith in the power of faith. I have faith in the power of faith. I don't know. She wants to convert me and convince me that you indirectly believe in God. No, I don't. I believe in faith. That if you have faith, you can do miracles. I've seen miracles happening only because of the faith. So that is another thing which I found in this book. And one more characteristic I found in this book, she's capable of creating very dramatic scenes. I don't know, in real life she creates dramatic scenes, I don't know. But in the book,
Very simple.
simple. In the book, she is master of creating dramatic scenes. In the book, I can mention few, but there are scenes. The scene in the court, the scene when it is a birthday of the child, there, the dramatic scene when she separates from the father, so intensity and dramatic scenes. So I could speak on and on this, but I think I have mainly said what I wanted to say about this book. This is a wonderful book. I would say, मिताली मैं उसको कुछ कहना चाहता था. Keep smiling like a child as you do. Keep thinking like a philosopher as you do. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. And I think the lesson I have taken from what you have said is, मैंने ज़िंदगी को कुछ यूँ आसान कर दिया, किसी से माफ़ी मांग ली और किसी को माफ़ कर दिया. So now I request Tabeya to formally thank all the august audience present here, because it has been a pleasant journey for them, and now it's your turn to thank them for it.
Thank you so much, Mithali ma'am. Once again, I'm here. I hope you guys are not tired. Just few more minutes. Okay, so to begin with, I would like to very humbly thank the Jammu and Kashmir Art and Cultural Languages. I would like to thank them for allowing me this opportunity to host my book launch in such a beautiful manner. To Miss Sonali Arun Gupta, thank you so much, ma'am. It really meant a lot. And you know, helping, you know, such budding writers, it makes us feel to write more. Because this kind of accomplishment in the closed doors means nothing. You feel happy you wrote, but when it goes to the masses in the world, and we have such people who promote them, you feel like you need to do more, because you have to give your bit to the society. And I feel the way she has given, I need to do more. I am still lacking. So thank you so much, ma'am, for that. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank Sucheta, ma'am. Thank you so much for such a detailed, even, when you were saying things, I was wondering, oh my God, have I written with so much of depth? I was, because when you write, you're into a trance, what I have felt. When I used to write, I never knew whether I have drank water for 2 hours, whether the light is on or not, my laptop and me and my own space. I was so lost all the time, but the way ma'am spoke, I think I've done some justice, and it really means a lot to me. Thank you so much, ma'am. And yes, very, very close to my heart, Gitanjali ma'am. Thank you so much for agreeing to read the paper, and so profoundly you told those verses and honestly, when I was writing, because I'm very close to my mom, so thinking of just losing her makes me feel all those things. And when I was writing, I thought every child feels that way. Because mom is your first university. The day she's your teacher, she's your guide, she's university, God couldn't be everywhere, so he made mothers. And the way I feel for my mom, I think every child feels that way. So the separation at a young age means a lot. And hence my plot in the end also gives that back. So thank you so much, Gitanjali ma'am. And yes, heart of this event, Lalit sir. Thank you so much. A huge round of applause for him. He has been the backbone of this event. He has been my biggest motivator to come up and do this. And thank you so, so much, sir. I really don't even have words for you. I had words for all of them, but for you, I have no words, because they will be very, very less to what you have done for all of us, for me as a person. And yes, your words will always stay with me. I will try to be better than what I am today, because that is what I strive for every day. So, and Mitali ma'am for hosting the stage, it was so wonderful. Thank you so much. It really meant a lot to me. All the esteemed guests and dignitaries who have taken out their precious time to grace this occasion, to motivate me. It really meant a lot. I was very nervous. I did not know how this is going to turn, and my beautiful relatives and beautiful faces I see here, thank you so, so much. I wish I had exactly the apt words, but I am completely short of them and my family. My husband, he never speaks anything, so I'm the chatterbox and he's the quiet one. And yes, sir, I'm very dramatic, you're right, little. So, so he pulls up with my drama all day, day in, day out. He's been my biggest supporter throughout my life. Taken care of my daughter when I was working endlessly and, doing his calls and keeping my daughter in his lap and, making his partner see her. And my colleagues don't know her, but yes, his colleagues know my daughter. So that is the immense, love that he has given me, and definitely to my father and mother-in-law for raising such a fine man. I wish I could even thank anyone enough. Thank you, Darji and Mama. You have done a great job. Raising him in such a beautiful way, it means a lot to me. I'm always indebted to you. And now my parents. I don't have words. They are my world. I know that people love their parents, but I admire them. Because they've not just given me a life, they've given me a purpose. It's very difficult in life to find what is your higher purpose, and they taught me that by living that purpose. They lived like an example, and I'm just trying to follow their footsteps. The way my mom and my father have sacrificed whatever they could to make me and my brother what we are today, I wish I could ever express in words and thank them enough. I really don't have words. I'm extremely, extremely grateful to my dear friend, Sonia, who's come all the way. And we have been together since our very childhood, and we have always had a heart in and heart out conversations. And it really means a lot to me to see you here today. And above all, my beautiful daughter, who doesn't understand anything as of now, because she's just 4 years old, but yes, she's the soul of my life, and I live my life through her smiles, There are days when I can't give her time. There was time when I used to be with my work and laptop, and yet whenever I used to look at her, she used to smile. She is so forgiving. She never complained, and I'm so grateful to her that I never felt less. I never felt low. I thought I was doing something right. And it is because of her. I really want to thank her. And to all the people who are here, it really, really touches my heart to see how beautifully you've listened to all these words. I know literature is boring sometimes, but the way you have had the patience, I am indebted to you all. And the beautiful media here who are covering, thank you so much. Everything and every word means the world to me. Thank you so much, everyone. And yes, I would request you all, we have a cup of tea, so please join us. And I also have some books available if anybody wants to buy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all. And now, as conversations continue beyond words and memories linger in hearts, I warmly invite you